This is the fifth gate of Kamasaka Zen, and the Shakyamuni equanimity. This is Dharma Talk 9. And this is the interconnection. It's the interconnection between the fifth gate of Kamasaka, the subject of equanimity, the fifth ox herding picture, named the taming of the ox, and the koan, the moon in the water, image in the mirror. But also in this ninth gate, we are also interconnecting with the concept of the third step on the Eightfold Path, known as right speech. The spiritual journey is one of refinement. It's one of deep insight and one of transformation, wherein seemingly disparate teachings weave into a single tapestry of wisdom. The fifth gate of Kamasaka Zen, which emphasizes equanimity, and the fifth ox herding picture, which portrays the ox being tamed, resonates deeply with the Buddha's teaching of right speech, the third step on the Eightfold Path. And together, these teachings guide practitioners to embody mindfulness, to embody skillful communication, and embody the harmony in thoughts, words, and deeds. Equanimity. It is the balanced state of mind that remains steady during the ebbs and the flows of life. The fifth gate, Kamasaka Zen, represents equanimity. It represents it as a critical threshold in our spiritual practice. Now, this state does not imply indifference or apathy, but rather it reflects a profound stability, grounded in insight into the nature of reality. And it arises from the understanding of impermanence, anicca, from the understanding of suffering, dukkha, and an understanding of the non-self, anatta. These are the foundational teachings of the Buddha. In equanimity, the practitioner cultivates an inner peace that is neither attached to pleasure or adverse to pain. And it's this balance that allows them to, or even us, to respond to life with clarity and compassion, rather than being simply swept away by emotional turbulence. And in the context of Kamasaka Zen, the fifth gate challenges us as practitioners to transcend the duality such as praise and blame, success and failure, emphasizing the cultivation of equanimity as the cornerstone for life that is lived in harmony with the Dharma. And then the fifth stage of the ox herding pictures, taming the ox. This illustrates the spiritual practitioner's deepening mastery over their mind. Now, the ox is a metaphor for the unruly and elusive nature of the mind, and how now it is trained and responsive to the ox herder's guidance. And it's through sustained discipline and through sustained practice of mindfulness that the practitioner is no longer at the mercy of unexamined desires and aversions. And now the ox follows the lead of the herder, symbolizing the alignment of intention and action. So this stage signifies a growing maturity in the practice. Now, while earlier stages focused on recognizing and confronting the mind, and confronting the mind's wild tendencies, this phase reflects integration and inner coherence. So it's now that the ox herder begins to experience peace, steadiness, and an authentic connection with the present moment. And it's here the practitioner's equanimity and the ability to remain undistracted come to the forefront. And this is creating a fertile ground for wisdom and skillful action. And then the koan, the moon in the water, the image in the mirror. This encapsulates the essence of non-duality. And it also talks about or captures the illusory nature of perceived separations. The moon, reflected in the water, is neither the moon itself nor entirely separate from it. Similarly, the image in the mirror, it's a perfect representation, yet it lacks independent reality. So this wonderful koan invites us as practitioners to contemplate the nature of appearances and the interdependence of all phenomena. And then in the context of Zen, this teaching points to emptiness, shunyata. It points to emptiness of inherent existence, while affirming the interpenetration of all things. And this koan echoes the insight that our words, our actions, and perceptions are both reflections of deeper truths and impermanent phenomena themselves. And it's by understanding this dynamic that it can inspire a mindful and compassionate approach to life. An approach that is based in the clarity and wisdom. Right speech, samavaka, is one of the ethical components of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, the Noble Eightfold Path. And it emphasizing the transformative power of words. Now, speech is a bridge between thought and action, and it holds immense potential to uplift or to harm. So right speech encourages us as practitioners to cultivate verbal conduct that is truthful, kind, beneficial, and timely. Now, the Buddha delineated 4 components of right speech. He talked about abstaining from false speech, avoiding lies and deceitful words, abstaining from divisive speech, refraining from words that create discord or division, abstaining from harsh speech, avoiding words that are abusive, insulting, or hurtful, and abstaining from idle chatter, eschewing frivolous, meaningless, or excessive talk, gossip. So these guidelines are not merely moral injunctions, but they're practical tools for fostering harmony and mindfulness. Because right speech calls for a conscious awareness of how our words arise, an understanding and awareness of their intent, and the awareness of the impact that they can have on others. And emphasizing that speech is a sacred activity that can be aligned with the Dharma. So let's talk about how all these interconnect. Equanimity, taming of the ox, right speech. Equanimity and right speech. Equanimity, as cultivated through the fifth gate of Kammasaka Zen, provides the emotional and mental stability necessary for practicing right speech. When we are grounded in equanimity as a practitioner, it's less likely to read or react impulsively or speak from a place of agitation or from fear or from anger. Instead, our words can arise from a place of calm understanding. For example, when we are faced with criticism, a person rooted in equanimity does not react defensively or retaliate with harsh words. Instead, they pause. They pause, they reflect, and they choose a response that aligns with the principles of right speech. And this balance ensures that communication is thoughtful, kind, and conducive to understanding and embodying the deeper wisdom of the Dharma. And the process of taming the ox reflects the discipline required to align one's speech with the teachings of the Eightfold Path. Just as the ox herder must remain vigilant and patient, practitioners of right speech must continually monitor their thoughts and their intentions, so to ensure their words reflect mindfulness and compassion. So this taming involves recognizing our habitual patterns of speech, such as tendencies towards gossip or sarcasm or judgment, and then redirecting them towards skillful expression. And then over time, as the ox becomes tamed, teach flows naturally from a place of inner harmony. And the practitioner's words, like the ox, becomes instruments of peace rather than discord, contributing to the well-being of all, including others, self and others. And then the koan, the moon in the water, the image in the mirror. This offers profound insights into the nature of speech and its relationship to reality. Because words are at their best, they're simply reflections of truth rather than the truth itself. This understanding fosters humility, and it also can foster caution in our communications, reminding us that speech, like the moon in the water, is both powerful and limited. When viewed through the lens of this koan, right speech is not merely about choosing the correct words, but it's also about recognizing the rational and impermanent nature of all communication. Just as the moon in the water changes with the ripples, our words adapt to context, to relationships, and to the needs of the moment. So practicing right speech becomes an exercise in mindfulness, grounded in the present, and attuned to the nuance of interconnection. So the interconnections between equanimity, taming the ox, and right speech highlights the transformative potential of an integrated practice. For example, a practitioner meditating on equanimity develops the patience and clarity needed to pause before speaking. And this pause allows them to discern whether their words are truthful, whether they're kind and beneficial. Similarly, the discipline of taming the ox, it can strengthen our ability to redirect harmful speech patterns into constructive communication. And then, through the lens of the koan, we as practitioners can learn to approach speech with both reverence and fluidity, understanding its power so to reflect deeper truths, while at the same time embracing and understanding its impermanence. This perspective transforms speech into a sacred act. It's a bridge between inner realization and outer harmony. And as we progress as practitioners along this eightfold path, the insights gained from these interconnections, or these interconnected teachings, it can deepen our commitment to mindful living. So, equanimity fosters resilience. Taming the ox develops discipline. And right speech becomes an expression of an awakened wisdom. And together, they illuminate the path of clarity, compassion, and harmony, guiding us as individuals towards a life embodied in the Dharma. And it's embodied in every word and every action. So last look. The fifth gate of Kammasaka, the fifth ox herding picture, the Buddha's teachings on right speech are not isolated teachings, but they are deeply interwoven aspects of the spiritual journey. Equanimity provides the foundation for balance and clarity. The taming of the ox reflects the discipline, the alignment of intention and action. And right speech translates these inner transformations into a realm of human connection. And the koan, the moon in the water, the image in the mirror. This koan, it encapsulates the spirit of these teachings, reminding practitioners of the interdependent and impermanent nature of all phenomena, including speech. So, by embodying these principles, we as practitioners can create a ripple effect of peace and understanding, contributing to a world that reflects the wisdom and the compassion of the Buddha's path. And then it's through diligent practice, the fifth gate, the fifth ox, right speech, it comes alive, guiding us towards a life of profound equanimity, authentic expression, and awakened living. I certainly hope this has been a benefit to you. Thank you for listening.